Midnight, blue and red sirens paint the curtains in frantic stripes. Voices shout, sharp, legal, final, outside a small bedroom where a single laptop glows like a heartbeat. Fingers hover, a face is pale in the screen light. Outside, agents call a name. Inside, millions shiver in numbers, screens blink, markets ripple, prices vanish and reappear like breath. Somewhere in the world a trader holds his breath, elsewhere, a trading algorithm misreads the sky. $1 trillion, for a moment, disappears. Papers rustle. Boots on the stairs. The laptop hums. The sound is tiny next to the roar of a collapsing market. How do lines of code and one person behind a screen bring the most powerful financial engines to their knees? Who benefits when the rules meant to stabilize the market become the very tools that break it? They were not heroes or villains in the old sense. They were technicians of opportunity. The market's heartbeat had moved from floor traders' shouted bids to milliseconds in machine logic, a landscape where profits live between electric pulses. In May 2010, that heartbeat stuttered. For 18 minutes, a phantom tremor raced through exchange systems. Prices dove, then spasmed back, and nearly $1 trillion of market value blinked out of existence and then returned as if someone had exhaled too hard. Regulators looked at lines of code and found manipulation and spoofing, the deliberate planting of orders to trick other systems into reacting, woven into trades. The instruments designed to make markets more efficient became instruments of chaos. 5 years later, the story narrowed to one room. Navinder Singh Sarao was not a trading floor titan. He was a lone trader, seated amid cheap furniture and a glowing monitor, exploiting the market's new vulnerabilities from his bedroom. Small acts, automated and repeated, amplified across fragile networks. The scale was vast, the origin intimate. How did a global system so complex leave a door ajar? And what does it mean when a single person finds the latch? For years the market's pulse had been outsourced to code, programs that watched, decided, and acted in the space of a breath. That morning the programs did what they were built to do. They chased patterns, but some patterns were lies. Spoofing, the simple, cynical trick of placing orders to make the market think demand is rising or falling, then pulling them away, taught other machines to lurch and overreact. Algorithms fed on each other. A single false signal became a contagion. Liquidity ruptured, prices gapped, screens went red. People felt it as a noise and a silence at once. The tiny ping of an order, the hard thunk of a trader's gut. Humans were still in control, until they weren't. Market makers, designed to steady the ship, pulled back to watch the storm. Automated systems accelerated it. The result was both modern and primitive, a microsecond disaster with billion-dollar consequences. For 18 minutes, value evaporated like breath in winter, $1 trillion flickering out and back again, as if the market were a candle someone had exhaled on and then relit. Regulators later traced patterns, identifying manipulation woven into algorithmic trade. But patterns have no face. They have no bedroom. They have no motive beyond efficiency and profit. That's where the story narrows, from global tremor to a single amplifier, one person, one screen, a loop of code he wrote in the dark. How did the global become intimate? How does a system built for stability leave a hinge for exploitation? He did not look like a menace. In photographs that later circulated he could have been any late-night coder. A tired smile, a hoodie, a cheap chair scuffed at the edges, but appearances hide transmission lines. From that bedroom his scripts whispered to the market like a ghost on the line. Tiny commands that placed and canceled orders in patterns so rhythmically deceitful they taught machines to dance the wrong way. The technique was surgical: plant false demand, watch price move, step in and profit while everyone else chased shadows. Repeat, amplify, repeat again. What makes a person write that loop of code? Greed, curiosity, boredom, the cold thrill of outsmarting a system built for fairness, or all of the above. He watched liquidity as others might watch a sleeping animal, predictable, vulnerable to a steady pressure. His tools were simple: patience, timing, and automation. His arena was global and anonymous, his footprint microscopic. Yet when tiny, automated nudges hit an ecosystem of reactive algorithms, the result was anything but small. A bedroom operation became a force multiplier, cascading through markets with the cruelty of a landslide. When regulators traced the tremor back to that single point, the question sharpened: who is responsible when code behaves like a weapon? The law, slow and human, reached for a digital ghost. Investigators followed logs, timestamps, payment trails, and eventually, in 2015, they closed in. An arrest. A life condensed to a suitcase in a charge sheet. But an arrest answers only one question. It opens others about the system that allowed it. The chase that followed was clinical and obsessive. Regulators, exchanges, and a handful of forensic analysts treated market data like a crime scene. Timestamps became footprints, order books the autopsy table, patterns that once looked like noise, fleeting bids, canceled orders, the rhythm of spoofing, resolved into something with edges. The global tremor of 2010 had left behind a map of vulnerabilities, and the map pointed to tiny, repeated distortions. Investigators stitched together logs from servers across continents, following the same digital rhythm that had once amplified a phantom demand into a market-wide panic. In 2015 that stitch tightened. An arrest made the abstract concrete. A single man, his laptop, his code. The legal apparatus moved to classify not just an act but an intent. Was this sophisticated market strategy or criminal manipulation? The courtroom would be asked to translate microseconds into mens rea, to put motive around streams of zeros and ones. For the public, the spectacle was dizzying, the enormous power of machines, and the small, human hand that pulled a loop in the global weave. But arresting one person does not erase a system's soft spots. The episode forced regulators to look harder at automated strategies, at latency advantages, at the arms race between speed and oversight. It forced the financial world to ask an ugly question. When profit can be engineered in the milliseconds between markets, how do you police fairness? The answer would not be a single verdict but a slow, uneasy rewiring of rules, technology, and trust. The arrest closed a circle but did not quiet the tremors. Markets are social machines that pretend not to be. Trust is their fuel, human belief their engine. When algorithms lie, that trust cracks. Regulators tighten lenses and tighten rules in the language they understood. Policy, fines, prosecutions. But the deeper work was cultural and technical. Exchanges rewired failsafes, firms rewrote playbooks, compliance teams hired mathematicians and detectives. The arms race between speed and oversight resumed with new rules and new tools, but the questions that mattered most remained philosophical. What does fairness mean in a battle measured in microseconds? Who gets the right to be fastest? Who pays when the race breaks the track? There was also a quieter aftermath. For the man in the hoodie, the world telescoped into courtrooms, extradition fights, and headlines that said he had brought the market to its knees. For regulators and technologists, the event was both humiliation and lesson, a humbling proof that complexity can be weaponized by tiny actors as easily as by titans. For everyday investors, it was a ghost story about value that could vanish and return like a trick of light, reminding them that beneath the global graphs and glossy reporting sit fragile protocols and human choices. Some argue the system learned. Others say new doors always open when the code base grows. But maybe the lasting image is simple: a single laptop glowing in a dark room, its owner alternating between boredom and brilliance, anonymity and exposure. The laptop did not create the market's vulnerabilities, it revealed them. And when systems reveal their seams, the world has two choices: repair them, or pretend the rip was never there.